Hello, everyone, and welcome to the RGR Football Channel. Welcome back to all of you new guys, and thank you for viewing today. We are going to do some film review for you guys, and I do have a bit of information with that. So I think what we can really talk about so far in the first couple of preseason games is the takeaway from the defensive side of the football. I'm extremely optimistic with the way that the front four is playing. I think they're going to have one of the best defensive lines in the NFL, and the way that the Chiefs have addressed the cornerback position in a way that I didn't expect them to, letting Rashad Breeland walk to basically signed to the Vikings, and bringing over Mike Hughes from the Vikings was a huge addition to them, who's probably going to be a huge part of their rotation this season. He's probably going to be the outside corner in nickel, have Snead come back to the inside for the slot. And the way that he's contributing and showing that he can play in this defense, he's comfortable in this defense and he can play one-on-one on the outside, and he's still learning at the same time, I think is an extremely valuable asset for them in this season, especially considering we thought corner was going to be a huge red flag and weakness for them. And I think that Mike Hughes has strengthened them, as well as DeAndre Baker, who we didn't expect to see this season, at least until the first half of it maybe was over. So I like to be able to watch Mike Hughes a little bit and discern from the first game of the preseason to the second game that he's still learning, get his hands around the football, find better body positioning, locate that football is going to be the next step. I need to see him do a little bit better of reading the receiver, because he's going to be one-on-one a lot of the times on the outside. You need to be able to read the tells of a receiver. Yes, they're going to hide their hands, but they do look for the football. So you also need to be in a position to get your head around as well, not only to make plays on the football in the air, but to find it as it travels to the receiver. So you're not kind of doing what he does in the Cardinals game. So this video is specifically going to be for two guys who I thought stood out in the Cardinals game. We're going to talk a little bit about Mike Hughes, and then next we're going to talk about Tershawn Wharton, who's going to be a huge part of the defensive line rotation, and I think is going to have. Yeah, he broke out last year, but I think he's going to have an even better year this year with the movement they have with you know Chris Jones playing on the outside, who's really going to help open up everybody. And Jerron Reed, you're going to have so many different defensive line combinations. Offensive lines are going to get confused, and the speed that they have up front really is hard to match in the NFL. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So, like I said, we're going to start with Mike Hughes, who is down here at the bottom of your screen. This is one of those things that I really, really enjoy about watching Mike Hughes play. You see, he's in a really good position to start. I think that he would do a little bit better with getting his mouthpiece in there. I know you're not always going to be using it, but at the same time, like, you got to get it in there. So watch as he mirrors. He does a good job of mirroring, stopping, using his short area quickness, and getting on the receiver as he's trying to make that catch. He does a good job of getting to the catch point of Christian Kirk, his hands in the middle there, and that's what you like to see from a guy who's not looking for the football immediately. He does a good job of breaking on it, making that tackle, and that's what really jars out the football. So yes, I really like seeing him move well with a quicker receiver in space and get in his face, be a little more physical, make sure he's timing that tackle properly. And that's what you really want to see from a guy who, to be completely honest, he struggled in Minnesota with fitting into their defense. I thought when he came over, he would be more of a slot nickel kind of guy because of that short area quickness, but he's proving that he can be more physical in this defense while also using that short area to mirror on the outside. That's extremely valuable for this defense, especially because, like I mentioned earlier, they do like to leave their corners on the outside at times on an island, because Spags loves to blitz so much that you just have to trust that they can force those receivers to the help on the inside with the safeties, whether it's single high, too high, or they're doing some weird thing with Matthew where he's coming underneath and being a robber. So again, I really, really enjoy that. And here up at the top of the screen is Hughes one more time. This is one of the plays that we all watched in live action and really, really thought he wasn't going to be beat on, but he does a good job of recovering. See right here, this is where I want to see him get a little bit better about looking for the football. He definitely did a good job of coming back, finding the football at the catch and making a play on it. But here you've got to see the receiver. It's hard to see, obviously, because of the how far away. So I'll try and get a closer look for you guys here. But he's looking right? The receiver right now is looking for the football. So as the corner, you really want to be able to find it. And he goes up, and Hughes doesn't really see him go up, but he's able to make a play on the football as it comes down by watching those hands, using his longer arms to really get in there and try to swipe it away. And he does just enough to make him bobble it, and then make it so he's unable to complete that catch, the process of the catch. Like right here, this shouldn't really happen to you, especially because the ball wasn't extremely it wasn't a bullet by Colt McCoy. He kind of lofted up there a little bit. The receiver had time to go find it and then go and get it. But again, Hughes does a good job of recovering, finding that football, and of course, Juan Thornhill getting there at this last split second may have helped a little bit. If not, at the very least, he could have tackled the guy out of bounds had Hughes missed. But again, like I talked about, it's nice to see him being able to stay with Mirror pretty well. He's got to use that outside a little bit better. What I mean by that, excuse me, is that there's a lot of space out here. There's a lot of space out here. And you want to be able to push this receiver outside, especially if you're playing outside coverage. So you're essentially in one-on-one, and you're forcing him to the outside. You need to be a little more physical in this with the route stem right here, and kind of get your hand on him, force him out to that boundary, use it as that 13th or that 12th player, excuse me, and really get him in a position where it's hard to make a catch. He's just kind of running with him there. So I want to see him be a little bit more physical through the route. You don't have to hold or anything like that. You can just use your hand to guide him towards the sideline and make it harder for these throws to get in to make it essentially you're making the window tighter for the quarterback. And the guy like Colt McCoy, for example, or even a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL, it's not an easy throw to make, but if you give them an area to throw to, it's definitely much easier for them to find that. So another guy, like I said, who stood out to me was Tershawn Wharton. And on this specific play, what I want you guys to focus on is Jerron Reed. So this is a rep without Chris Jones and you have Mike Dana, and then I think the guy over here is Alex Okafor, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but this is it's Wharton, it's Reed, and it's Dana right here, and yeah, it's Okafor, number 97. So you have a huge gap right here with these two defensive tackles. So the first thing you're going to see, I'm doing this a little bit slower, but we'll go ahead and run through it as soon as I get through this part right here, is, like I said, that center. Just want to watch the center really quick. You see his eyes. They are on Jerron Reed 100%. So let's go ahead and go through this. And that, just look at the quickness from Tershawn Wharton. Let's run through it so you guys can see it a little bit better, because I want to really give you the full force of that speed of his. Look at him go. He is one of the quicker guys on this defense, and it wouldn't surprise me if he was getting close to the Chris Jones type of speed in terms of the twitch that he has coming out of his stance and using it that short area to go from one side of the football to the other. So again, the attention on Jerron Reed here as what creates this giant A gap. Wharton does a very good job of pushing upfield to this B gap, making the center, the guard attack him a little bit, and then that widens that A gap even more than it already was right there. Just give that little shoulder shimmy. You see the guard already moving. His left foot is off the ground, indicating he was moving to his right. And again, just that space he created. He's just so quick. It's so hard to get on him when he's got that much space to work with. McCoy does a good job of getting around, but again, that shows you the type of athlete that Tershawn Wharton is, the undrafted guy out of Missouri Tech, I think, or something like that. Missouri or S&M or S&T or something like that. It was, I forget exactly the school that he went to, but he's such a diamond in the rough that they found, and that kind of athleticism doesn't come around all the time. So here we go again, another rep without Chris Jones on the field, and even without Jerron Reed this time. I think you've got Harris here, you have Saunders, then you have Okafor on the outside. So again, he's doing a lot of this as without a ton of elite help from the Chiefs defensive line. This is the better part about what you want to see from Tershawn Wharton, is that while he's got all of those things, the speed, but he's got some speed to power there. And this would have definitely been a sack had the Chiefs not kind of botch this up a little bit. So you're going to see pressure coming off the edge at number 2. Key, excuse me. Or no, that's Boodle. Sorry. Boodle coming off the edge. You have Harris coming inside here, and then you're going to have Cobb coming back around. That creates this huge running lane. So you're sending essentially 2 blitzers this way, and you're going to bring 1 defensive end to the inside. And that does create a little bit of a problem because Wharton does an extremely good job of getting into this guard. He pushes him upfield, he pulls him, and then he swims through or rips under, and then swim over and oh no, excuse me, that wasn't right. But yeah, still you see what I'm trying to say. Cobb doesn't actually, or Harris doesn't actually get there's 2 Harrises on the field. So yeah, Harris isn't actually blitzing, but they do a good job of getting the pressure drawn up properly. They just didn't get this whole figured out. So I would have liked to see them maybe send another blitzer if that's what their plan was. But Wharton would have had a sack here had it not been for this giant gaping hole on the right side. And just the pass rush plan for him has developed in a way that I didn't anticipate, and it's extremely fun to watch. He uses that speed to power here. He has that quickness like we talked about, but he's able to use it to get into this guard. Look at this perfect positioning right here. All of it is being that power speed's being transferred into power from the foot all the way through to his arms, and he's going to push up, and then he pulls him a little bit, and then he swims, gets over. It would have been a sack. It's extremely nice. Using all of those different things in the same rep is why he's becoming such a powerhouse in this defense. And I really believe that he's going to have an excellent year. Like, once again, this was like a series or 2 stretch that he was almost unblockable up front. And I absolutely love seeing him move around too. He doesn't have to be just on one side. He can do it from both sides. He can do it without Chris Jones on the field. He can do it with him there. It's a lot of fun. That spin move, that spin move is extremely dangerous. And we've talked about his speed, obviously, the speed to power as well. When you can mix quick twitch with the speed to power, and then with just raw speed, we knew he had raw speed coming in last year, but this is a little bit different. You see, when he takes this spin move, you really want to get that ice pick. What I call ice pick is that he brings that left arm in with the elbow and he hits it right in between the ribs of the guard. You're going to see it right here as we go through. Right there, he gets the timing right. He's already through his spin while the guard is moving to his left still. So he's moving this way directionally, and Wharton is coming back around to this A gap, and he's able to create a lot of separation that way. And that's the kind of speed that you really, really need to see from a guy who's essentially going to be able to play 3 tech. And I think that they're going to use him a little bit more at defensive end if they have to. Right now, it doesn't look like they have to, but he brings that versatility to you as well. And he has all these different pass rush moves. So his pass rush plan is really developing along nicely. This is the thing you want to see from Wharton. The pass rush plan development. You can have a ton of tools, like Joshua Kendo, for example, has a ton of tools at his disposal. He just hasn't been able to figure out how to stack them on each other and use them properly. But Wharton is now using everything that he has at his disposal, his speed to power, his quickness, and he's using it against an offensive lineman. He can set them up one way. He can come at them a completely different way. He can use his hands better. He's got more explosion in his hands. And you can see here in this spin move, he's using the techniques properly. That ice pick technique is exactly how you want to execute this spin move. That is the more impressive part about Tershawn Wharton's coming out party than anything. And I truly believe that he's going. So I really, 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 really think that Tershawn Wharton is going to have one of the better years as a rotational piece that you can have. He's going to come in a lot on pass rush situations, but I think he's also good enough to play in the run game. He can play him on the outside. I think he's got enough speed. He can get underneath guys. Maybe he doesn't have the power to play on the outside routinely and run defenses, but you can send him out there and pass rush. I think he's got more than enough juice to do that. So I'm hoping to see a lot more development out of him that we've already seen in the preseason going into the regular season. Mike Hughes, returner capability too. Like, he might actually come out of this whole offseason as the best returner for the Chiefs. He's showed some explosion, some quick twitch with his feet, and using a lot of his techniques that I thought was going to make him a really good corner coming out of UCF. He's now using all of that, and developing it in Kansas City, which is exactly what you want for a guy you got from essentially nothing. So I really, really like seeing two guys that the Chiefs spent, almost nothing on coming into this defense and having that ability to have that breakout year. That's what I think is going to happen for both of them. I think Hughes can have his best season in the NFL in Kansas City, and then you could really solve the cornerback problem that they're going to be having in the next couple of years. If he and DeAndre Baker hit, they've got young, athletic, physical corners for when you add L'Jarius Sneed into that for the next 4 to 5 years, and they're going to have to lock them up. But again, that's the kind of value that Brett Veach gets. He gets the guys that he wants and that he knows he can get out of these teams and get the best out of them. So I'm extremely excited to see this defense in action. And we're going to really focus on the defense going into the next preseason game. I'm going to do a video tomorrow talking about the ins and outs, the specifics of what we're probably going to see up front in the secondary and at linebacker as well. Really go over the position groups, well, who's probably going to make the roster, who's not, who's on the outside looking in. We're going to talk about the Taco Charlton release today in tomorrow's video as well. So make sure you're looking for that. We don't forget Thursday, Seth and Ryan are going to be on. We're going to do a pregame show or the postgame show after the game on Friday or Saturday, which one it is. I don't remember exactly. But Ryan and I will be doing tons of stuff for you guys. So make sure you guys are watching. Like, sub, bell notification, so you make sure to hit everything that we're doing. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.